Good afternoon, Shindo here. Now, I talked about a week ago, less than a week, I think, about the UN and how they are not recognizing the Temple Mount anymore as Jewish. Further evidence today that the UN is really going against Israel and against Jewish interest in Israel, in Jerusalem specifically, which I guess technically, as far as the UN is concerned, is not even part of Israel. So let's look at this. Again, I'm just going to, the only commentary I'm going to say about this, I'm going to read it here, is that the UN obviously, and you can put your own theories on why, but the UN is obviously going against Israel. UNESCO adopts anti-Israel resolution on al-Aqsa Mosque. UN agency passes resolution that criticizes Israel policies around al-Aqsa, sorry folks, I don't know how to pronounce Aqsa, Aqsa Mosque compound in occupied East Jerusalem. The resolution caused Israel to suspend its cooperation with the agency, the Associated Press. I am reading from an Al Jazeera article. Palestinian leaders have welcomed a decision by the United Nations Cultural Agency to adopt a resolution on occupied East Jerusalem that sharply criticizes Israeli policies around the al-Aqsa Mosque compound, while Israel says it ignores Jewish ties to the key holy site. A spokesman for Paris-based UNESCO said on Tuesday that the resolution, which caused Israel to suspend its cooperation with the agency, was adopted without a new vote after being approved at the committee's stage last week. The text, which touches on Israel's management of Palestinian religious sites, refers throughout the al-Aqsa Mosque compound sites in occupied East Jerusalem's Old City only by its Muslim name, al-Aqsa and al-Haram al-Sharif. Al-Aqsa Mosque compound is the third holiest site in Islam. Jews refer to the site as the Temple Mount. Palestine Deputy Ambassador to UNESCO, Munir Anastas, told reporters that resolution, quote, reminds Israel that they are the occupying power in East Jerusalem and had asked them to stop all their violations, unquote, including to archaeological evacuations around the religious site. The UNESCO resolution also condemned Israel for restricting Muslim access to the site and for aggression by Israeli police and soldiers, while also recognizing Israel as the occupying power. Quote, by criticizing the report for the omission of the words Temple Mount, Israel glosses over more than 24 detailed criticisms of Israeli actions in and around the Old City, which is, after all, occupied territory, unquote. Al Jazeera Paul Brennan reported from West Jerusalem, said. The resolution was submitted by Algeria, Egypt, Lebanon, Morocco, Oman, Qatar, and Sudan, and was originally passed with 24 votes in favor, 6 against, and 26 abstentions. Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, said in a statement on Thursday that UNESCO has lost its legitimacy by adopting this resolution. Quote, the theater of the absurd at UNESCO continues, and today the organization adopted another delusional decision which says that the people of Israel have no connection to the Temple Mount and to the Western Wall, unquote, Netanyahu said. In April, UNESCO also passed a resolution condemning, quote, Israelis' aggressions and illegal measures against the freedom of worship and Muslims' access to the al-Aqsa Mosque, unquote, also failing to mention the site's Jewish name. In 2011, the Palestinians were admitted as member state of the organization, which led to the United States to suspend its payments to UNESCO. The latest resolutions created unease at the top of the organization, with Michael Words, who chairs UNESCO executive board, saying he would have liked more time to work out a compromise. Quote, we need more time and dialogue between the members of the board to reach a consensus, unquote, he told AFP news agency. UNESCO chief Irina Bokova has distanced herself from Thursday's vote, saying in a statement, quote, nowhere more than in Jerusalem do Jewish, Christian, and Muslim heritage and traditions share space, unquote. But Raed al-Malaki, the Palestinian foreign minister, responded to Bokova by describing her comments as, quote, completely unacceptable, unquote. Quote, the Palestinian government expects Ms. Bokova to focus her efforts on implementing the will of the member states and preserving Jerusalem for the Israeli systematic colonization and assault on its Palestinian character, unquote, said Malaki. The al-Aqsa Mosque is located in East Jerusalem, which Israel annexed following its invasion in 1967 in a move never recognized by the international community as part of his subsequent military occupation of the West Bank. Jewish settlers and Zionist organizations have called for complete Jewish control over the mosque compound. Jewish groups' incursions into the mosque compound have continuously led to Palestinian protests across the occupied West Bank, including East Jerusalem and the Gaza Strip. The Israeli military and armed settler incursions have resulted in Palestinian deaths and injuries in recent years. In particular, Muslim access to the religious site has also been tremendously limited by the army. Now, in case you don't know, this particular site in Jerusalem is of utmost importance as far as the Jews are concerned. It also, according to the Christians, okay, I'm just telling you what the Christians say. According to the Christians, this site plays a key role in these end times scenario. Now, years ago, back in 2011, when I heard about the Palestinians becoming members of this UN group, UNESCO, I told my father that this would lead eventually to a UN occupation of that area, the Temple Mount. Now, as I was told back then, that was just basically ludicrous. Folks, things are leading more and more to what I perceived was going to happen 5 years ago when I first started talking about this stuff. This is what I believe is going to happen, and it's certainly not far-fetched anymore. The Jewish contingency in Israel, the ones, it says here, Jewish settlers and Zionist organizations have called for complete Jewish control over the mosque compound. Here in this article, it says this: those Jewish people are going to push and push and push, and eventually have Netanyahu adopt just taking the site. Now, if they do that, if the Jews take the site from the Muslims, it's going to be a holy war. It's going to be a holy war. You know what? The way things are going in the world, I figure that the Jews, the Muslims, and even the Christians figure they got nothing to lose at this point. Might as well have a holy war, right? That holy war will lead to the UN occupying that area around the mosque. You watch and see if I'm right. You watch and see if I'm right. Now, I'm making that prediction today on the 18th of October, 2016. All right. You all have a good rest of your Tuesday. This is Shindo. Goodbye.